All right, so we are live. It is Prime Day. Happy Prime Day, everyone in Amazon world. My name is Kevin Sanderson from Marketing and Partnerships here at My Amazon Guy. In addition to that role that I play here at My Amazon Guy, I also host virtual summits on pay-per-click advertising. I have spent as a seller more on pay-per-click advertising than I've spent on my house. In fact, I could more than pay off my mortgage and then some with what I've spent on pay-per-click advertising over the years. So point being is I'm flying solo today. I'm going to answer your questions as best as I can, but I am answering them from experience, from my own standpoint as a seller. And I am super excited about that. So we're going to be diving into your questions. I already got a few questions coming in. So if you have questions, go ahead and drop them into the chat. The sooner you ask those questions, the sooner we will get to them. And then also, I just want to say, how is Prime Day going for you? I know you're probably like me, where you probably at times throughout the day, you pull up your phone and you're like, how are my sales doing? So how is Prime Day going for you? If you don't mind, put in an emoji into the chat, letting me know what your Prime Day sales look like. Is it good, bad, whatever? Now, one caveat I have to that is on peak days, I find that Amazon's reporting tends to be a bit delayed. I can't say if that's happening for now, but it's just my experience over the years. I've noticed whether it's Prime Day, Cyber Monday, Black Friday, some big day, oftentimes they kind of hold resources in their servers or whatnot for the additional traffic, so they can accommodate the traffic. And sometimes server resources are pulled away from reporting, so your reporting may not be 100% accurate. So I have a decent day so far. I wouldn't call it like a gangbuster day, but it's kind of come in spurts, is what I will say. So I'm curious, how are things going for you with your sales on Amazon using just an emoji? So if you put in an emoji, let us know how things are going. So John Aspinall, formerly from My Amazon Guy, now the chief, I was going to say director, but he's the chief of the the chief evangelist over at PickFu. Great product, love PickFu. And then also he's saying he's loving the Maximizing E-commerce newsletter. Thank you for the plug there. So yes, lots going on. And then Ashley is saying fire. So it sounds like things are going well, and not a dumpster fire, but usually that particular emoji denotes something good. So hopefully all is going well for Ashley on Prime Day. And I also want to know, everyone else, how are things going on Prime Day? So you never know. I might even throw in a giveaway, just throwing that out there. So LinkedIn user yet to start here in India. It's scheduled on the 12th and 21st. Oh, I'm guessing Prime Day is scheduled for India. Yeah, which is interesting because last week, or say it differently, last year Prime Day was essentially last week, so it was a week earlier last year. So if you're looking at your year over year numbers, it's kind of skewed because you're not looking at apples to apples weeks. And it was the 11th and 12th last year, which would have also been a Tuesday Wednesday, but this year Tuesday Wednesday, or the 11th and 12th, was a Thursday Friday, just because of leap year. So anyway, we're going to start getting into your questions here in a moment. But I do just want to say, make sure when we ask for participation to participate, because you could very well be rewarded for doing so. So Ashley, is a thank you for what you have done with dropping an emoji when asked to describe your Prime Day experience so far. I'm going to actually give you 4 free brand new. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. We're going to share with you brand new $100 CTR course, as in click-through rate. We all know that the main thing on Amazon is your click-through rate. If your click-through rate is suffering, so are your sales, so are your traffic. If people don't click on your listing, they're not going to buy. Studies have shown. So if you think of it this way, in fact, why don't we do this here real quick? So actually, before I get into that, Ashley, if you don't mind, email Kevin@myamazonguy.com. Let me know that you were the winner, Ashley, email kevin@myamazonguy.com, and I will get you free access to this course, which I'll go into the importance of that here in a moment. And I'm sure John Aspinall, if he's still watching from Pick Food, knows very well how important the main image is. So, for example, let's just say we go to amazon.com. Oops. If I can type. All right. So we all know, okay, shop Prime Day. Today's Prime Day. That's a big thing at Amazon. So let me make this a little bigger. So let's just say you make a search. So let's just search for the old garlic press. So you search for garlic press. Now you're quick. You got to put yourself in the mind of the consumer. What are you doing? What decisions are you going through in your mind? What is the thought process that you're deciding on? So you're looking at a few things like, okay, these ones, a lot of them have Prime Day deals. Is there the Prime badge? Well, a lot of times when everything is a Prime Day deal, nothing really is a Prime Day deal because everything looks the same. You're looking at price, but outside of that, what else is coming to your mind? Maybe it's the images. So like this one here is a very good image because like you can see they're effectively using the packaging. They're making sure to show you this uses garlic. It literally says garlic press on the side of the packaging. I'm going to almost guarantee if you order this, it doesn't say garlic press like that on the packaging. It's going to probably look completely different. Like this one here, you'd probably be less likely to look on it. Now, granted, there's the packaging with the garlic press. It kind of catches your eye because it's red. But then again, you see a lot of other reds here on the page. But this one here, it's got some different colors that kind of jump out at you. You see the garlic. You see the main keyword in the image itself, which is probably not there if you bought the box. But you see that there, and you see what's kind of jumping out at you. And if you look at effective garlic press studs, I don't know that that is a keyword that people would be looking for. Just saying garlic press, even if it says effective garlic press studs, I'm not even sure what a garlic press stud is. And I've been looking at garlic presses for years since I've been on Amazon. But anyway, because garlic press has always kind of been the talk of the town. I would imagine you're looking at things like the main image. Like this one here, OXO. Okay, that's a big name brand. But they could do a lot better, like having the packaging that just literally says garlic press on it in big letters like this one. So which are you going to be more likely to click on if all other things are equal? So the price is a little bit higher here. Now that's maybe a name brand if you're looking for the name brand. But let's be honest with yourself here. So that one, maybe you like the handle better, but what are you going to click on, even if it's the same handle, the Zule one or the OXO? Because this one's showing the garlic coming out, showing that you're getting some other accessories. This one shows the garlic itself. It shows the packaging. You probably be reminded that you searched for garlic press and this is what showed up. So this is why the main image is so important, because think about it. Like, notice how I'm scrolling like this. This is exactly what your customer's doing. Your customer is scrolling, or if it's on, mobile, they're going quickly. They're making snap decisions. They're not thinking, I wonder how much work this seller went into it, how much heart they put into it. Is this a good person? They're looking at, does this meet my needs? Is it within the realm of the price I'd be willing to pay? And does it grab my attention? Really, does it grab their attention? And that's why the main image is so important. Because let's be honest, most of us aren't even reading the title. You might even not even look that closely at price. People do look at price, but we have found what's more important is the main image. That's why we created this new main image course over at Mag School, brand new, $100. We just gave it to Ashley Bell as a thank you to Ashley for participating when we asked folks for an emoji to describe the her Prime Day. So I'm assuming Ashley is a she. If Ashley you're a he, I apologize. So let's just say this: if you didn't win and you're like, well, I kind of want to win, I would have participated if I was here at the time. Stick around to the end, because I'll be giving away another main image CTR course, absolutely free, $100 value. And this is going to help you impact your main image. We're going to show you a little bit about why it's important, why the main image matters to click-through rate, and things that help with the purchase decision and what kind of triggers those emotions. So basically the same things that our designers look at when we think about helping a client or someone that just purchases a main image upgrade from us. we're going to walk you through all that so you can do it yourself. I was going to say DIY it yourself. Do it yourself. So we're going to get into your questions here in a moment. So if you have questions regarding PPC or just about anything on Amazon, I'm happy to answer those for you. So simply put into the chat your questions and we will get to them, whether it's PPC, whatever. I know people are probably super busy right now, so I appreciate you taking the time to join us here for this live stream. So the Thinkerish just became a new YouTube member. So Thinkerish, thank you for joining us as a member of the My Amazon Guy channel. Appreciate that. And then Brian B says, happy Prime Day all. So yes, it looks like Brian must be joining us from the state of California. You can see the California flag there. So thank you for that. And then also says, how can we use retargeting and abandoned cart coupons to get sales post Prime Day? That's a good question. So is brand promotions, I forget the exact spot you go, but you can create brand promotions for people that are, they give you a bunch of different criteria, and abandoned carts is one of them. Now, one of the things to keep in mind with a lot of these promotions Amazon wants you to run, you run a bunch of different promotions. Oftentimes they're additive, not replacing, meaning if you also have a coupon, you've also lowered your price, you also have a sale price. All these things add up. When I say add up, they're really subtracting down your price. And so you're giving a good deal to the consumer. Now, you will pay less in commissions because you're paying 15%. So if your sale price goes down, your 15% commission goes down. But on the flip side of it is you will also find that your FBA fee is consistent because it's still the same weight and size of the product. And the price you paid, your cost of goods sold, isn't changing for that product either. So all that's going to be consistent. So keep in mind that is going to affect your margins. So if you have the margins, and also keep in mind whatever your PPC you're paying is going to be consistent too. So abandoned carts are a good one because, people forget, they go off and they do something else. So it's not bad to put in there, especially after, sometime like Prime Day. Test it out and see how it goes for you would be my suggestion, Brian. All right. So again, ask your questions, and I may just sprinkle in some rewarding of participation. I already gave a $100 course on the main image click-through rate to Ashley earlier. So when we ask for participation, don't forget to join us in participation, and I will do my best to answer your questions. I've been selling on Amazon myself since 2015, running ads since early 2016, and I've spent more on Amazon ads than I've spent on the mortgage for my house, including I could pay off the mortgage of my house with what I've spent on Amazon ads over the years. So more than happy to answer your questions based on the lens of my own experience. All right. So Bright TNT asks, I'm assuming because the B and the N, I just looked at my keyboard to confirm the B and the N are right next to each other. So I'm assuming that's now my sales are 0. I lost too much money on PPC. I switched to individual account. How can I resolve? All right. Good question. So a couple things you might want to look at is you very well might need some work on your listing. So if your sales are 0 and you were running PPC, are you running the right keywords? And so oftentimes we say to ourselves like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna use this example here. This is a dry erase marker. If you go, I'm sure everyone knows dry erase marker. You got a dry erase board, you write with a dry erase marker. If you're on Amazon and you type in markers, you would think that would be a good keyword for this, but it's not relevant at all. So you want to make sure the keyword that you're targeting is relevant to the search intent people have when they search for it. Whereas dry erase markers would make a lot more sense than just markers in general. So you want to make sure that you are targeting the right keywords for you, not just going after the keywords that have the most volume, but the most targeted. And then once you kind of get that laser precision on the keywords that you're going after, you can start to kind of branch out a little bit. Like maybe you go after the term markers once you've gotten some initial sales. Another thing you might want to do is, to the point it's almost going to be uncomfortable, is lower your price. Steven recommends lowering your price as much as 50% to get some initial sales. Now, you don't have to keep that going forever. He recommends going up about another 10%. So have your price be 40% of your target price once you get your first 50 sales. You don't have to keep it at 50, but the more you start your flywheel, so to speak, you start getting those initial sales. Sales beget sales on Amazon. And so you want to get some initial sales. You want to get some initial traction. So you want to have a lower price. Then you also want to potentially have your listing optimized with the best possible main image, and then also, does your listing communicate what you want it to communicate? And if you need someone else to take a look, you can go to, let me see if I have a banner for this. You can go to myamazonguy.com/ASIN, myamazonguy.com/ASIN, which I can drop that in here if I don't have that handy. In fact, I'm just going to create it real quick. So myamazonguy.com/ASIN. I'm going to go ahead and add that banner. And this is good for everybody. It doesn't just have to be to the person I was just responding to. If you want us to take a look at your listing, it's totally free. Just go to myamazonguy.com/ASIN. We will happily look at your listing and give you some feedback on things that you could do differently, whether it be your main image or something else. It could be the copy, it could be the keywords that you are targeting. Maybe you're not indexing for the right keywords for your product. We're happy to take a look at that. So that's something we do as a free service just to give back to the seller community. Just go to myamazonguy.com/ASIN, sign up for free ASIN review. Now, also, this is a PPC AMA, so that means ask me anything. So I'm happy to take on any questions you have. Just drop them into the chat, and we will potentially, you never know, I might give away another free course. So as a shameless plug here, we just recently introduced our main image CTR course at Mag School. So if you go to mag-school.com and you look at our courses, you can see we've got our main image course. So if you want to take a look at how you can improve your main image on Amazon, as we were just showing, it's one of those snap decisions. So if you want to rank for products, put the keyword in the image. Now it's kind of hard to write it in the white part, but you can use that real estate on the packaging. Now, as long as you're helping the customer and you're not making weird claims, especially health claims and things of that nature, you can generally get away with things like adding that there. No one's going to complain like it didn't come with 2 heads of garlic. People understand that part. So you want to have something that's going to help customers make the decision, remind them what it is they're buying, showcase your product in a good light. This is not an image we made. This is just me looking up the old standard of garlic press and see what comes on. Because if you think about it, if you're Amazon, you don't really care whether Cuisinart, a big name brand, or Joseph Garlic Rocker, or KitchenAid, looking at some of these more big names like KitchenAid and Cuisinart, or, Zulay, which is become a good name. Now they've got a really good image there, I would say. They could probably add in the packaging would be our number one recommendation. But looking at this, Amazon is deciding quickly, because it's not just as we all know, it's not just the garlic presses that are on page 1. It's probably thousands of garlic presses that are available. So there's only so many people that come into Amazon and type in garlic press, and Amazon wants to show the garlic presses that are more likely to turn into sales. And you don't get the sale unless people click. A lot of times we think about what's on the listing itself. So I'll be nice and not click on one that's a paid ad. But let's say this one here. So you're looking at the listing. This is the listing, well optimized. This looks like a very well optimized listing. But what you're looking for as the buyer this is such a major decision here. If you don't decide, yes, I'm going to click on this garlic press, you'll never buy it. Because if you think of all these snap decisions, there's however many products that are on page 1. So if you say to yourself, I'm going to click on this one instead, you're more likely to buy this one, and you're not going to buy the one that you passed up, because there's all those other ones you chose not to click on. That is why that click is so important. And the main image is the number one driver to get people to click. And so that's why we've recently put out the main image CTR course, which you can sign up by going to meg-school.com. And then you can go to courses. And then we've got, actually is the second course listed there, main image CTR course. Sign up there. All right. So we do have some questions that have come in, and let's get to those. Amazon, happy Prime Day all. Question: what if competitors are priced like $10 to $15 USD and my product is $20 to $25? All right, so this is a great question. And Amazon, just email Kevin at myamazonguy.com. Let me know you were the one who, or one of the ones I said would get a free CTR course, and I will give you the CTR course for free. So just email Kevin at myamazonguy.com, and I'll get you that course for free. All right, so your question is, you have competitors that are priced between $10, $15, and your product is in the $20, $25 range. You are just like me with many of my products. And I have come to tell you, at a certain point, you got to look at things two ways. One, some of those products are doing $10 to $15 are going to get higher sales, just flat off the bat. But you got to think about it from this standpoint of, for every, let's say, $1,000 you invest in inventory, how many dollars are you getting back on the back end? So they might sell inventory faster, but their cash flow is going to be stunted by that. I would imagine most of these competitors are either, one, Chinese sellers who may or may not be subsidized by their government. We don't know that to be the case, but I've heard stories of that. So that might be happening. You don't want to play their game. So, and then you probably have some US sellers, and those are probably people that are just trying to liquidate, or, maybe they're launching and they're going to get to a higher price eventually. So if your product is $20 to $25, ask yourself, if you're getting good sales and you already have some reviews, maybe you don't care. You just understand you're going to get fewer sales, but maybe fewer sales actually, once you pull out the old calculator, you actually end up with more money. So maybe they do 300 sales in the same time period, you do 100 sales. But maybe because they're half the price, keep in mind, there's still the cost of goods sold is pretty much set. So even if their cost of goods sold is half the price of yours because they're the direct factory, there's still the cost of the good. There's still the cost to get it into the US. There's still the cost to get it into Amazon. There's still the cost of fulfillment. So a lot of those, they're not really getting much of a break on it from you. Maybe just the cost of the actual manufacturing they might save on. Or maybe even if they're not the factory, or they're just a US seller, they're not a Chinese seller, maybe they have the ability to get better pricing from volume or something like that. But their FBA fee is probably the same as yours if it's a similar product. Maybe they have a little more compact or something. So is there something you could do there to shave off some costs? And they're still paying 15% of whatever their selling price is. And then their PPC costs and whatnot. And so I would imagine they might have lower PPC costs per unit sold, but on an ACOS percentage, it might not be that better. So let's just say hypothetically, after all said and done, they're making $2 a unit, and you're making $8 a unit. Totally just made that up just by the pricing you just mentioned there. I'm just going to throw that out there. So they're making $2 a unit, you're making $8 a unit. So if they're, in my example, let's just say hypothetically, they're doing 300 units, and you're in the same time period, whatever time period that is, a week, a month, a day, whatever. They sell 300 units, they net that's $600. You sell 100 units, you net $8 per unit, you made $800. So you made $800, they made $600, and you have less inventory to turn around and buy later because you're only replacing 100 units. They're going to have to replace those 300 units. Does that make sense? So sometimes it's not worth playing the game of who has the highest BSR, because the last I checked, I just paid my mortgage the other day. They did not ask me about my BSR. They said, we want cold hard cash. I deposited a check into the bank. It was in US dollars. It was not in bestseller ranking. It was not, how many units a month were sold. They care about dollars. And so think of it that way. You care about, the bottom line profit, and that's really all that matters. So if you have competition that's selling at $10, $15, just do a better, maybe the short of it is just do a better job communicating why your product is better. Do comparison charts. So if you have, if it's a volume product, meaning like, X number of fluid ounces and theirs is a smaller, showcase that you get more per whatever. If there's something where you can show value there, or if it's quality, try to do the best you can by showing quality in your secondary images and in your bullet points. Although, let's be honest, most of us, myself included, don't really read the bullet points. Now, I say that my wife analyzes the reviews and the bullet points. Like, she goes through very detailed. I'm kind of like, I'm more of a skimmer. So make sure that both your skimmers and your readers, analyzers are able to get the information they need to prove why your product should be a higher price. And don't forget to email kevin@myamazonguy.com, because I'm going to share with you the CTR course for free. And everyone stick around, because I'm going to be giving at least the CTR course one other time, at least towards the end, if not somewhere in between. All right. So is it normal to have 80% ACOS on all PPC campaigns before Prime Day? So the exact number I would say is not necessarily the number of what's normal. What is normal is this. Think about, always put yourself in the shoes of the consumer. Something's coming up. There's a big day coming up, especially when it's a big day known for lower prices. So people start kind of strategizing. So this happens with Prime Day. This happens with Black Friday, Cyber Monday, where people start ahead of time going in and window shopping. So if you just think about this, like what would have happened back in the day, let's say 2004, doorbuster deals at Best Buy, or, pick your major retailer chain. They would probably experience more traffic, people walking into the store and looking around to see what's available. What are the current prices? So they kind of know in the back of their head, like, okay, I'm looking for a deal on a calculator, because who's really shopping for calculators? But let's just say someone's looking for a deal for a calculator, and they walk into the store because they're going to spend all that time driving to the store. But let's just say hypothetically, in 2004, they're driving to the store to look up deals on calculators, and they see like, oh, this is the price now. And then they come back on Black Friday to see if it's a better deal. It's kind of the same thing now, except instead of driving to the store, walking around and looking at the shelves, they're walking around by doing more searches. They're looking at the shelves by clicking on listings, and they're just kind of get a sense of what's happening. And this is very normal pre-Prime Day, pre-Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Any peak days, especially if those peak days are known for having discounts, people want to kind of see what's happening. And so there's a lot of curiosity. People are kind of wanting to see like, okay, if I buy this product now, because think about it, if you're the consumer, and it's not like I need more trash bags because I'm almost out and I don't want to have trash everywhere. If it's something that, you can wait another couple days on a calculator, why not wait another couple days on a calculator? So you're like, okay, I see the calculators that I think I want. I'm going to come back on Prime Day and see if they're any less, because why not? Everybody likes a deal. So that's one of the reasons why your ACOS tends to be higher, and oftentimes sales are slower leading up to peak days like Prime Day. All right. So next up, GH Tech asks, what if the brand's trademark application for the brand name did not go through due to it being similar to other brands? Would getting the trademark for the logo be enough to keep Amazon Bread Registry? So I'm assuming the trademark. So this is a trademark application with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. So, one, we do have a service to help you with trademarks. You can always go to myamazonguy.com, and then for services, click on trademarks. If you're already working with us or you're already working with a lawyer, Don't try to DIY this yourself, especially when you're going back to, I forget the exact term they use, but it's basically the rebuttal process. So my understanding as a layperson who actually has to renew his trademark with the U.S. and Patent and Trademark Office, you got to think of it as there is someone in an office. Let's just assume they're in Washington, D.C. They might be somewhere else in some federal building in some town, but let's just assume they're, for sake of illustration, they're in Washington, D.C. They're a lawyer. Their job is to basically act as a goalie. So think of like soccer or hockey where there's somebody in front of the goal whose their whole job is to prevent, someone from scoring. Now, in the case of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, they're not there because they don't want to keep all trademarks out. They want to keep the wrong trademarks out because they don't want consumers to be confused or people to be able to say, yeah, but I went ahead and traded McDonald's as a restaurant. I mean, the government approved it, so it must be okay. So their job is to push back at times. So there is a rebuttal process. I personally can say that when I first put in my trademark, this was before the current brand registry process on Amazon. It didn't matter that you were on the principal register. So they ended up saying, we'll add you, but we'll add you to the supplemental register. And sure, why not? I can use the R circle. That was kind of my thought process. Well, turns out I needed to be on the principal register. So I ended up speaking with an attorney later on when Amazon updated their brand registry process, which requires you to be on the principal register. And he said, you can trademark your logo and get it in quicker. So in your case, you might be able to get it in quicker using your logo. But my caveat is talk to an attorney. All right. So Jorge or George, depending on if that's the Spanish pronunciation or the Portuguese pronunciation, I have learned. So Jorge or George, is there somewhere in reports where I can see return shipping costs when a customer returns a product? I honestly, at the top of my head, cannot think of one. And at the same time, too, I can't think of, is this for an FBM product or for an FBA product? Because if it's for an FBA product, don't even worry about it. It's dirt cheap. You're paying a return fee, but you're getting some of the other, money back. So I wouldn't worry about it if it's on Amazon. But if it is if you're talking about the individual cost of return fee, you could look at the transaction of a refund in your payments tab. So if you go into the payments report and you look at, your refunds, you could kind of do the line item of that particular line item. What are they charging you? All right. And then also, just as a quick reminder, if you have questions, add them into the chat. We still have more questions to get through, but what ends up happening is we oftentimes run out of time at the end, and I don't want to run out of time. I want to answer your questions. So if you have questions, ask them now, and I will do my best to answer them for you. Amazon says, my PPC is not working. My competitors price $10 to $15. My product is 25% with 30% margins. If lower, it's their level, I'm going to lose money. What should I do? So going back to the other question, we did answer this one earlier, so it might just be a follow-up there that it's a 30% margin. So that means your break-even ACOS is 30%. I'm going to say, ask yourself this question: how super targeted are you on your keywords? I would imagine your PPC is working to some degree, meaning there are some keywords that are working for you. And depending on your product, you might have a lot of broad match keywords, or broad match search terms, I should say, meaning your product is, I'm looking around for a good example, my desk that comes to mind, but it doesn't. But let's just say garlic press. And, you're showing up for black handle garlic press, for silver garlic press, for garlic press with, mincer. I'm just making these up. And let's say all these, search terms that show up for the keyword, the broad keyword of garlic press. let's say all those that show up are a bunch of onesie twosies, meaning there's not enough to go by to say like, do I get rid of that keyword? Do I not get rid of that keyword? So what you might want to do is just look, where are you getting sales now, and just run the keywords that are somewhat profitable. Because I would venture to imagine if you go into let's say the targeting tab in your in the advertising console, go into the targeting tab and set the date range to, let's say, year to date. So that's more than 6 months worth of data. You can very quickly see, are there some keywords you should just go ahead and turn off because they're just not making any sales at all? Or if there's some keywords that are doing really well, and maybe you really focus on those keywords that are doing well over the course of the year that have, a couple sales, and then do all those as exact matches potentially, or maybe turn off all the other keywords and slowly start turning on some of those other ones once you start getting sales and maybe some rank for the product you have. But I would say also too, is your main image really indicating, like, is it grabbing people's attention? And if it's not, and this isn't just a plug for the CTR course, make sure that this is something that's compelling people and kind of grabbing their attention and borderline holding them by the hand and grabbing them and going to their mouse and almost clicking the button for them. Now, you can't do that, but in a metaphorical standpoint, are you getting that much attention to your main image in an ethical way? Don't get shady on this, but it's, again, if you have good product image, if there's ingredients involved, like we showed, like, garlic press had garlic. Not everything has an ingredient. But if there are ingredients involved, or some sort of, icon like that kind of helps showcase what this product is. If you have pet bones, do you have pet biscuits, pet treats? Is there a picture of a dog in the size of dog, even more so, that would eat your treats? Is that in the image? And then is the packaging with your main keyword, is that in the main image? So ask yourself those questions, and then start taking a look at what are your competitors doing wrong? Look at their reviews. What are people complaining about? And then how can you position in your images and in your bullet points that your product is better than the competitors? You wouldn't say, I'm better than this brand because of XYZ, but you could say, people, this won't rust, or, this is, sturdy construction material. And this is actually something, shout out to Brian Johnson from Canopy Management, one of our competitors, but I'm going to give him a shout out. Good guy. He suggested one time, and this stuck with me, go to your competitor and ask them 2 questions. Or your competitor, go to your factory, your manufacturer. If I said competitor, I did not mean your competitor is not going to say this to you, but go to your manufacturer and ask them 2 questions. 1, what is the most costly part of the process in manufacturing? And 2, what in the manufacturing process takes the longest? And then ask maybe some follow-up questions. Why is that? So then if they come back and say, oh, well, we let the paint dry for whatever, you can, and there's, a lot of people in marketing that do things like this, where they go into, there's this special process for, drying to prevent rust or something like that, it's individually inspected with a 12-point checklist by the factory or something like that. The kind of, you can tell a little bit of a story of the quality based on what your manufacturer tells you. So that's something you could potentially do as well. All right. GH Tech asks, if I have a listing that has 3 flavors, I have a 3-pack or 1-pack, a 3-pack, a variety pack listed. How do I figure out which of the 7 ASINs should I run PPC on? I've been running PPC on the listing for 3 months. So this could go multiple different directions. And shout out to Bernard Nader, who was a guest on this AMA stream a couple months ago. He's also been a speaker at the PPC Mastery Summit. And one of the things he suggested with variations, and I like this one, is basically think of keywords that would apply to all of them and run a campaign to those keywords to all of your listings. Then take a look and see, like, okay, over time, you're going to see I have certain products that seem to be doing well in this kind of more generic keywords for the parentage, so to speak. But what products are doing well, then turn off the ones that aren't doing well. So maybe just keep on, like, if you have 7, keep on your top 1 or 2. And then also which ones are getting the highest click-through rate. Because if you think about it, the ones getting the highest click-through rate are the ones Amazon's probably going to be more likely to show because they're more likely to get the click. And Amazon, if you think about it, they don't even care which one gets the sale. They just care someone clicks on this listing. We, as Amazon, get a sale on the back end. So they click on your 3-pack and they buy the variety pack. That might be the case. I'm sure you probably have seen in the search term report where it tells you, the percentage of, or your sales for other ASINs other than the one that they click on. So you could take a look at that and see, like, okay, take a look at what you already have there and see what search terms are getting sales for each individual product. Then create individual, more targeted campaigns with the keywords that are more relevant to each particular, let's say, flavor. If you have cherry, or vanilla, you wouldn't want to run the vanilla to people searching for cherry. You would want cherry to be the product that people see. So you'd want the cherry, let's just say that's the flavor. The cherry is the ad, so to speak. It's the SKU that you're going to put in that particular campaign. And then because it's a parentage, if people click on your cherry listing and they see, that you also have vanilla, they might buy the vanilla, or they might buy the 3-pack, and they might buy the variety pack or something like that. So hopefully that makes sense. So basically you could test this, have all of your products in one particular campaign with more generic keywords and more specific keywords to the specific listings. And then in the more generic campaign, let the cream of the crop that's getting the highest click-through rate and the highest sales, let that be the one that stays turned on and turn off the others, which is what I've kind of done in a similar parentage, although mine's color, not size, or not quantity or flavor variation, but it's kind of the same process. All right. Karan asks, I have a client that has 5 supplement products. Their PPC data is good. However, we cannot crack a monthly sales of 40K and monthly traffic of 75 sessions. ACOS and all is good. What course of action? It's hard to say. There's a lot of, it depends there, because I don't know what the size of the market is. So what keywords are your competitors have? Do you have the main keyword in your main image? What can you do to improve the main image? And you could always either run an Amazon experiment with different main images. And at the same time, too, shout out to PickFu, you could run a PickFu test with multiple different potential main images to see which people say they're more likely to click on. And if one is a clear winner, I would test that one out on Amazon. So that might be something. Let's assume you have a good main image. Is there anything you can do on the page to improve your conversion rate? And then also, I'm assuming you have A+ content. In the A+ content, do you have alt text? That's one little trick that not everybody does. Is if you think about it, you have your title and your backend search terms. Well, you also have another backend search term that's nowhere else. So you could put like Spanish keywords, misspellings, other keywords that might not necessarily 100% make sense. Don't put your competitors' brand names, but you could put those in the alt text field of A+ content. So that's another great way to get some additional keywords and potentially rank for more keywords and get more sales and more sessions to that product. All right. Marnie asks, how do we get small business sign or climate friendly pledge? I don't know. There's probably a way to look it up. I mean, I don't even know if I still do. At one point I had the small business sign on mine. I think at one point to renew it, they sent me like a survey or a questionnaire. But I didn't do anything to ask for it. I honestly don't know the answer to that question. There's got to be an answer to that, but who would probably know better is on Friday, visit same time, same channel, Noah Wickham, one of our brand directors. He, I think, would know the answer to that question. Ask him that question. I'd be curious to know. All right. So when you're looking through your own ASINs keywords with Cerebro, what important numbers we need to learn and understand? There's so many columns and it's overwhelming for new sellers. So here's what I would focus on. Find the 10 most relevant ASINs to your product, the most similar to what it would be that are already ranking. And then what you're going to do is then go and put those into Cerebro, do a search test. I would filter out for keywords that are basically ranked outside of, let's say, the top 50, just assuming, let's say 50 is about one page. This is not an exact science here, but let's just say the top 50 is about the first page on Amazon, the search results page. And then I would just sort by ranking competitors. And ranking competitors means, how many competitors are ranking and the criteria that you looked for. So like, for example, calculator might show up for, adding machine. People look up adding machines anymore. Like, remember like the old, and then have like the tape, or it might show up for like something random. Like somebody shows up for office supplies, or, this caddy. Sometimes if you think about it, some random person searches for this thing and is like, oh yeah, I need a calculator. And so then Amazon thinks, oh, this is relevant. So maybe one of your competitors ranks for something that's completely irrelevant. Do not target Post-it note caddy or whatever keyword you would use for this thing if you're selling a calculator. So one of the data ways, the quantitative ways to look at this is to see how many competitors rank. So if you put in 10 and 7 of those competitors, so you put in 10 ASINs, 7 of those competitors are ranking competitors for a particular keyword, chances are it's pretty relevant. And so that might be one you want to really, utilize both in the copy of your listing, maybe in your backend search terms, maybe even in the title. So take a look and, what is a majority showing up for? And then the ones that maybe all of them are ranking competitors for, even if they're not on the first page or in the top 50, maybe that's still relevant because it's relevant. Okay. All of them seem to be showing up, even if they're not ranked highly, but they're ranked for the term garlic press, and I'm selling a garlic press. Maybe I want to make sure garlic press is in there, but maybe garlic mincer, only 7 of them are showing up for. Still relevant, but not as relevant. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. Next up, guys, I need serious opinion. Team, I love that. Guys, I need serious opinion. Temu is killing Amazon. Is it still worth it to register as a seller on Amazon? I would say yes. Now, if you're looking to sell the lowest price products, Amazon would not be the place to go. So the days of, throwing on a label of, I don't hear people use this example anymore, but barbecue gloves. But if you had barbecue gloves and you throw on a label for barbecue gloves and, try to sell it on Amazon, those days are pretty much over. So you got to have a product that can sell, I think, at a higher price. Some people will even say as much as 6 to 8x what you pay for it, which is not bad. I have a couple of products that are probably in the 8x range. Some are maybe not quite that high. But there's all these little fees you have. And so if you're trying to sell on price, you'll almost never win. You'll never beat the Chinese, and not just Chinese sellers on Amazon or whatever the new Temu-like version of Amazon that Amazon's creating, which I sure hope is not going to show up on the main search results page, that it kind of is its own thing that you have to kind of like, okay, here's main Amazon.com marketplace. Oh, go over here to our Temu thing. I don't think they want to be in the game of being the next Temu. I think they still have so much invested in Amazon.com, or let's say the main marketplace. But yeah, Amazon's going to have competition from Temu. But here's the thing: like 2-3 years ago, everybody thought Walmart was going to unseat Amazon. That hasn't happened. Temu, that hasn't happened. There is a case for people who want something cheap and they want it sometime in the future. So Temu might work because maybe it takes 2 weeks, 3 weeks or whatever for the product to arrive. Whereas, with Amazon, people are still, I think some people are still going to be willing to pay a premium for I want it now. And I want it now means I might get it tomorrow. Or, in some cases, I buy products, in the evening and there's an option that they'll deliver it at 4 a.m, which is kind of weird. So, I mean, people want fast. They want cheap and they want fast. Sometimes you can have cheap, but you can't have fast. Sometimes you can have fast, but you can't have ultra cheap. You can have maybe a good price. So Temu will satisfy that you want the ultra cheap, but maybe you don't need it super fast. And Amazon will be the ultra fast. So that's why I think quality of product has to win out. Quality of product and something worth spending additional money to get it quickly. So, if you're selling cheap barbecue gloves and somebody just, wants to get a barbecue gloves because they know they kind of need them at some point, maybe Temu is fine. But, if you have something that's like strikes up emotion, like I need that now, I'm going to have friends over, I'm going to be doing a barbecue this weekend. Why did I not already buy this? I need this right away. Does your product evoke, I need this right away, to at least the right target audience? And if it doesn't, ask yourself that question. How do you make it? All right. So we can probably get to another couple more questions here. Pro Hall Cosmetics says, I read 45% of the reviews on Amazon are fake. Will that ever change? I'm getting fake reviews from my competitors. Unfortunately, no one knows. And I don't think Amazon knows truly the depth of fake reviews. In my experience, they try their hardest to figure out fake reviews over time. We'll never truly know what the extent of fake reviews are, but a lot of them are fake. Especially, I was looking at something earlier, and it was like a product had like 1,500 reviews, and it was like 4.9. I'm like, there's no way. Enough people are going to be, it was fine, here's a 3, or they're upset about something small and it's a 1 star, whatever, to at least get it down to the 4.7, so it shows up as 4.5 stars. So when I see something, it's not like 12 reviews, but like a good number of reviews, and it's got almost all 5 stars, it kind of tells me it's fake. And I think Amazon knows that, and Amazon looks the other way on a lot of things, but 2 things that are cardinal sins: don't mess with the algorithm. So we know they made a lot of changes a couple of years ago with, people who were doing rebates and things like that, because I was messing with the algorithm, kind of going around the algorithm and trying to fake it. So don't try to go around the algorithm. You're not going to outsmart their algorithm. None of us can. Their algorithm only gets better. And at the same time, too, don't mess with reviews. So when I first started selling on Amazon, one of the big things people did at the time was reach out to top 10,000 reviewers and ask them to review the product in exchange for a free product. And it was just kind of known, as long as they put some sort of disclaimer in their review, it was fine. Then all of those reviews went away, and the ability to do that went away. And I've seen Amazon go through pits and valleys because somebody at some whether TechCrunch or Washington, well, I guess it wouldn't be Washington Post, but some place writes a story about Amazon, Amazon will generally do something to correct it, or even sometimes proactively they will do something. So oftentimes it comes out of nowhere. All of a sudden they're like, okay, here's this new thing that we're going to do to fix reviews, and they'll never get it perfect, and there'll always be collateral damage. You'll lose some of your good reviews, but just keep on trucking. It would be my sense there. All right. So I know we got a lot of other questions. I want to get to, I think I can get to probably one more. Pato Kobar says, my auto and manual campaigns have a high ACOS over 100%. Ouch. What do you recommend to lower it? First off, take a look at, are there any particular keywords that you can just turn off right away? So depending on how long you've been doing this, hopefully you have at least enough data that's beyond what the reports will give you, so that you could look in the campaign manager as well as the targeting tab in the Amazon advertising console and look at both lifetime and look at year to date, because that'll at least go beyond the 2 to 3 months, depending on what report you're looking at, gives you data for. So at least look at that and start turning off anything that's doesn't seem to be relevant, not because you feel in your heart, I can do this for this keyword. Maybe you can, but maybe you need a lot more reviews for a particular keyword because it's a bigger keyword. Maybe you need to go after more long tail keywords. So try to focus on keywords where you see you are succeeding, because if you have some ACOS, that means you have some sales. So that's the good part. So where do you have sales? Where can you keep those on? Don't negate good keywords to promote them to another campaign. So if you had negated any keywords because you moved them from auto to manual, leave them where they were making sales. So that might help too. And then also, what are you doing about your main image? And, maybe look at lowering your bids, and don't worry so much about if you're focused on being at top of search, you don't want to be at top of search just for the sake of being top of search. No one's going to give you a gold ribbon or a trophy for being at top of search. All it matters is, are you bringing profit to your bottom line? So if you're being aggressive in certain ways, like, oh, this is a really good keyword, maybe revisit that keyword in a year and really focus on where you are getting some traction and focus there and kind of contract a little bit and then expand out, because you don't want to have 100% ACOS while also paying for all your fees and paying for the product. So you definitely have some ways to cut that back. All right. So I did mention earlier I would do another giveaway for the CTR course. So we did recently launch our CTR course. So I'm going to do this. If you want to win the free CTR course, just type in the letters CTRs and click-through rate, and I'm going to give away the click-through rate course. We'll do a giveaway. We'll do a drawing for one person. So I've already given away 2. I'm going to give away a third. So that's one CTR course I'm going to give away. All you got to do is drop in the letters CTR into the chat. CTRs and click-through rate, and you can potentially win the click-through rate course. So let me go ahead and pull up my wheel of names, which apparently is used quite a bit, even in the education space. I hadn't thought about this, but like my kids all know about it because apparently like their teachers use it. So, all right. So if you would like to win the free wheel of names, the free click-through rate course, and close out the ads for internet, since I already have internet. All right, so we've got 5J Basic PH. Interesting name there, but I got you there, 5J. Yeah, 5J, not SJ. We got Leo, who is probably joining us from Boca Raton, if I remember correctly. Boca Raton is in Florida. It means mouth of the rat, basically the way the city is shaped around the ocean, or the the ocean, the port. What would you call it? The river? I don't know, something. Then we have Rodrigo AC. We have Patricio Cobar. We have Nabil A. We have Let's Freeze. All right. So this is going to be our last call. So if you want to be, we have more people on than we have people who have signed up. So you have currently a 1 in 6 shot of winning a free $100 CTR course, brand new course. Make sure to just drop in CTR into the chat wherever you are. So it looks like somebody must be joining us late and watching the beginning. We're asked about emojis. So thank you, Maria, for participating with an emoji. If you see this, if you did see it, that means you made it all the way through to the end. So thank you for joining us. And then Patricia Cobar says, Patricio from Mexico says, thank you for joining us from Mexico. I grew up in Texas. Texas used to be part of Mexico. Hence the Six Flags over Texas. Mexico was one of the Six Flags. Little history lesson there for everybody. All right, so this is it. Last call. So going once, going twice. Hope I don't have a delay and skipping anybody. If I do, I don't mean to. This is it. I'm going to go ahead and click the little button. I'm going to raise my hand so everybody sees I'm doing nothing to facilitate this. I'm not like clicking on anything. This is truly like basically a random number generator meets Wheel of Fortune. Lucio Cobar from Mexico, who put in CTR into the chat. Just email Kevin at myamazonguy.com and I will hook you up with a free main image course. Now, for those of you watching, like, well, I wanted to win. Then here's the deal. You can still be a winner because you can sign up for this course for just $100. And this could be one of the best investments you make if you implement what you learn. And just on one product, you could very quickly get a good return investment on that. So you just go to mag-school.com, which I believe if you're on YouTube, we have a link in the description. So with that, thank you, everybody. Patricio, email Kevin at myamazonguy.com. Make sure to do that. Other people that I promised, make sure to email me. And I can always go back and just double check to make sure that folks, you are who I promised. But anyway, with that, Patricio gave, I think those are penguins or dancing emojis. I don't know. But whatever it is, it looks like Patricio is very excited. Fiesta, Texas. Amazon, sorry. We already did the giveaway. But join us for another one in the future. Also, this coming Friday, join Noah Wickham, who is one of our brand directors for an Amazon AMA, where he talks about just about anything. And we might even bring in another special guest on maybe I'll change up topics next week. We'll see. All right. So Patricio Cobar says, who do I have to email? Kevin at myamazonguy.com, KEVIN at myamazonguy.com. So with that, thank you, everybody, and have an awesome day.